First down Rams. We are live here on Wednesday night talking everything Rams, especially Rams and Bears coming up on Payo time of the Rams radar. And over here is my co-host Rams House from his channel, Rams House. We're streaming to both of our channels. We're thankful you are all here. Feel free to like, subscribe, whether you're watching with us live or on the replay. But Rams House, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good. We were just talking about it off stream. I'm just happy to be at a point, no matter what happens this week in this Bears game, to have an extra week to talk about Rams football. Because I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't worried about the Rams season being over last week. There was a certain point in that game where for a few minutes I was like, our season might actually be done. And this may be the last Rams game we get to see with this squad in particular. And to be able to get that win the way we did, I'm just very thankful to be talking about Rams still. How are you doing?
Oh, dude, I feel it. Like this every playoff win tastes a little bit sweeter than like a regular season win. But when your team wins in dramatic fashion that way, you can't help but just be like, yeah, that's what's up, right? Like, and especially it kind of reminded me a little bit of the 2021 Buccaneers and Rams game where the Rams went up and then the Bucs came back. And then the Rams were able to, snatch some souls, at the end of it and get the win. Kind of had that kind of vibe to it, that Rams-Panthers game. We're not going to talk a ton about that in this, live stream, but obviously we're two thankful Rams fans to be talking football this week, and we got a good game coming up. The Rams versus Bears. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the weather because that's apparently part of our job as Rams content creators now this week. I didn't know I needed to get a degree in meteorology.
I know, right?
And then we'll talk about, Sean McVay, Ben Johnson. We're going to talk about over Rams actions. I'm really excited about that. And, of course, play some what's more likely towards the end of it. But I want to start off by welcoming in the people that are already hanging out here in the chat watching live. We got Janique Singh here. Good to see you as always. Saying he's got Broncos, Seahawks, Patriots, and Rams. Well, I like it. Strikers Corner is here. And yeah, I think both of our channels have super chats. If you're welcome to do that. Thank you. We got the one, the only Justin making noise in the chat as always. Justin, I'm going to ask you, are you like a school bus driver or something? What is the profile pic of a bus meet? Like, I love it. I love it. Are you the party bus guy?
I don't know. Yeah.
We got the one and the other only Muad'Dib. Sup, gang?
Muad'Dib.
Good to see you, my friend. And Strikers Court. That's awesome, man. Good luck.
Let's go.
Yeah, have a great time. I always am a supporter when people try starting up a Rams channel.
Yeah.
We got Edwin here, and he's saying, did you guys hear McVay during the press conference when he said Matt LaFleur is one of his best friends and just chuckled? Ben Johnson, it's over for you and the Bears.
I have to say, first off, before we go anywhere, as Ram Showcase says, Edwin, emphasis on the win. I like that comment there. I've seen actually like legitimate Bears fans being concerned about Matt LaFleur giving Sean McVay advice on how to beat them because of him being salty with what happened in the Packers game. So I don't really know how real that is. I know that they're best friends and all of that, but that'd be hilarious, honestly.
Yeah. I said it in my other video earlier this week. Ben Johnson is kind of being painted as one of the like villain coaches of the NFL right now, especially after that like hand like it wasn't even a high five really right at the end of the game. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm really just stoked for this game, and I want to take a moment here. Look at the NFC, right? You have Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDonald, two of the smartest football minds in football, and they're competing against each other this week. You have Sean McVay and Ben Johnson, two of the most brilliant offensive minds and play callers in football. What a treat for football fans, right? Like it's so cool.
We're probably going to be treated to some good matchups. Yeah.
Yeah. Divisional round of the playoffs is normally some of the best football all year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Rohendi is saying, wish it wasn't a night game. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I don't think the temperature would have changed all that much if it was night or if they played like a little bit earlier. So
Colder at
for
night,
me,
but
it's cool under the primetime lights. So
yeah.
I don't know. It would have been cold either way. So I'm honestly fine with it. The only thing is like we got to wait the longest out of every other fan base to get to our game,
It's
but
true.
that does give the Rams a little bit extra rest because they played last Saturday. So I'm kind of
Just
indifferent on it.
saving the best for last, right?
Right, right.
K Dot practicing. Let's go. Love seeing that. Did you
That's
see
huge.
his press conference today?
I haven't yet. No.
Yeah. So K Dot, they interviewed him. I still think he's probably gonna be a game time decision, but he is leaning toward. He looks like he's ready to play, from what I saw. Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, it's playoffs, so I would expect that. You usually see offensive linemen try to do whatever they can if it's playoffs,
yeah,
season line, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, getting K Dot back would be huge for sure.
yeah. Striker's Corner, thank you for the $5 super chat.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Saying Rams one offense versus Bears miserable defense 22nd. Not to worry, we got this. 49ers beat Hawks, NFC West champions in ship in SoFi. That'd be sweet, man. That'd be sweet.
I'm excited for that. Isn't that crazy? Out of the 4 teams in the NFC divisional playoffs, 3 out of the 4 of them are from the NFC West.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah. And like, I gave the analogy to a friend the other day that like the Bears seem like that. You know how like you're at a family reunion and like your cousin brings their like boyfriend or their girlfriend who like they just started dating and they're like, oh, like hi, I'm here too. I feel like that's the divisional round of the NFC playoffs where like you have the dysfunctional family of the NFC West of like the Seahawks, the Cardinals didn't get the invite. The Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers. And then there's the Bears just being like, okay, I'm here too. And they've earned it. Like, I'm glad the Bears are there, but it's interesting.
That is a funny way of putting it because, yeah, they're like the newcomers to the thing. They got a young team. Kind of, they remind me a little bit of the 2017 Rams under McVay. They like got a new coach, still have a young team, was able to turn it around in the way they did. Like, they remind me a lot of that team, even though the 2017 Rams didn't have nearly as many comebacks as the Bears have had this year. They've had 7 comebacks in the fourth quarter and 1 games. And so that's a little bit different, but that does remind me a little bit of that little vibe of the 2017 Rams and having a team kind of come back to a place of relevance. And I don't know, I've thought about a lot this week. I know the Rams are going to be on the road. They're going to be in the weather. I've thought a lot about the Rams experience that they have across their roster, even as many young guys as they have. I mean, they've got a couple of years in a row of playoff experience. They have veterans that have been on the team for a while. They got a coach that's gone on 2 Super Bowl runs. How much do you think the playoff experience for this Rams team is going to help them or give them a bit of an advantage over the Bears, who, as you said, are new to this conversation, have done a lot to get here and have earned everything? What is your thoughts overall on that conversation?
Oh, I think it's massive. I really do. I firmly believe that playoff experience, because playoff football is different than regular season football.
Yeah.
Not to say the Bears aren't an extremely talented team. They can definitely, score. Caleb Williams, playing some really good ball, especially late in games. But there is an advantage that comes with being a battle-tested team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I almost find it interesting that the Rams were a wild card because I think if the Rams were playing at home and at SoFi, it would be a very different conversation. And so the Bears having the home field advantage in this game, I think is kind of like that equalizer where okay, like the Rams, they have all this playoff experience, they're battle tested, but then it's like, okay, but the Bears, they have the home field advantage, they have the cold on their side.
Yeah, sorry, you like lagged a little bit. I couldn't tell if you're still talking, but those are definitely good points that you bring up there. I I share the same sentiments in what you were saying of the Bears having home field advantage, especially considering there's going to be wind. It's probably going to be in at least the teens for the temperature, which is going to be really cold for a warm weather team going there. And the Soldier Field, Al Michaels was saying it on the broadcast that that was the loudest he's ever heard it there. So they are rocking. You have all these things working against you to where I really do think, like you said, that is the equalizer between these two teams. If you were to ask me which team is the better roster, I think even Bears fans would probably admit the Rams have the better roster. But the weather played in with being on the road in their environment, it's going to be hostile. That definitely makes things a little bit more equal here.
Yeah.
And that is going to be interesting to see the way things play out. Because if it was at SoFi, I feel more confident about this Rams team maybe winning by more points and doing it a little bit easier. But the Rams had an opportunity to get that 1 seed and they lost it. Like it was up to them and they didn't get it. So this is the road that we're playing on. And I'm just excited to see how they're able to respond, especially with all the weather narratives that are going around. I'm just ready for the Rams to go out there and just get a win, no matter how it looks, get a win, get out of there, because I don't think the Rams are like the Miami Dolphins of like, if the Dolphins play in cold weather, they are historically just bad. But people are making it sound like that, and I think it's a little bit overblown. So definitely think it's an equalizer, but does it make it us inherently lose this game? No.
Yeah, and I like I was telling you off camera, I firmly believe you have like the two teams that have tortured their fan bases the most this year in terms of like they don't secure the win. It doesn't like both the Rams and the Bears have found ways to lose games. They've found ways to win games. I expect this game to be down to the wire. Probably the final play of the game decides it. Maybe it's a field goal or a touchdown. Who knows? Maybe it goes to overtime. Who knows? Like maybe double overtime. Who knows? Right?
Yeah. That is so true. I think that this game is going to come down to the wire no matter what, especially with it being at their place. Like you just can't count out the Bears and what they've been able to do. I know a lot of people call them lucky because of the way that they've been able to get a lot of their wins. It's just unconventional.
They're the gritty Bears.
They're gritty, yeah. And I mean, it takes a lot to be able to stay in those games and have enough fight to be able to come back and will yourself to win the game. So I'm never going to be a person to call a team lucky for getting wins. I think that while it has looked unconventional and is a little bit risky waiting to play your best football in like the third and fourth quarter, they've been able to find ways to do it. And that is definitely the number one thing I'm watching in this game. The Rams have had a tendency to go up on teams early, start off hot, and let a team back in and lose, or let a team back in and barely hold them off. As recent as this Panthers game, being up on them early, looking really good, let them back in, and they almost lost their season because of it. And then you had the Eagles game, obviously, and you had the Seahawks game. That has been a story of this Rams team. And my dad and I were talking about it. For those who don't know, my dad is a Bears fan, so we've talked about this game a lot this week. We were talking about how the Bears have been very accustomed to starting a game slow. They usually start off the game very slow, the first and second half, especially offensively. And the second half, they dial things in and start going crazy. And so he compared it to like, yeah, Ben Johnson's been talking about starting off fast, and that's something that they're harping on, starting off fast. I'm sure that Sean McVay has been harping on putting away teams multiple times this season with some of the close calls and some of the losses that we've had. But even no matter how much you harp on it, it still continues to happen. And so both teams are going to be trying to fix these things for the Bears starting faster and the Rams being able to actually close out a team, play 4 quarters. And that's going to be interesting because both these teams have been trying to get better at not doing those things, and they've still happened. So that's just going to be an interesting thing. Like where does it meet in the middle here? And that's just going to be a very interesting storyline.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, you know what? That's a good segue. I promised someone that we would talk about the weather. So we're just going to put on our weatherman, hat here. And I have a couple of things. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. So I am someone who I live in Canada. So please note, I think in Celsius. Okay. I know a lot of people watching. You were taught in Fahrenheit. I'm doing my best. I have a converter here to help me understand your language. Okay. So the weather forecast here of Chicago. Oh, where did I put that here? Yeah. So it is supposed to be on. Yes. So the temperatures are going to be around 10 degrees Fahrenheit and feels like -7 degrees Fahrenheit, which in Celsius is -21.6. Now, I will point out in Canada, I don't know what about you in Colorado or anyone in California? In Canada, if the temperature gets to -30, we have to like close everything because there's a difference between walking outside and being like, oh, it's cold, or walking outside and being like, ow, it's cold.
Yeah.
Right. This temperature is leaning towards ow, it's cold. Not quite to the point of like, oh, it's like, not safe to be outside or anything like that. But like, it is going to be cold, right? Like any fan who goes to this game, it is going to be cold, right? Like take your gloves, take your hand warmers, right? Dress up and all the layers that you have. And yeah, Strikers Corner, thank you again for that $5 super chat. It said, could be the coldest game ever played in NFL history. Rams for life. Absolutely. And so, let's see Stephen Evans here say -15. So Muad'Dib, that's a great question. It's only a 10 degrees difference. How bad can it be? That I love that you asked that, because there is a difference, right? Where the colder and colder it gets on that degree scale, the more and more you feel it in your face. Now, if everyone had beards, the world, would be a warmer place, in my opinion.
That's true.
But I digress. But what are your thoughts? I know you're a Colorado, native. What are your thoughts on the cold going into this game? Is it gonna be, the biggest factor in this game, right?
I think it's a factor, and I think a lot of Bears fans have had me misunderstood in that. When I think that this has been a little bit overblown in the case of them thinking that because it's this cold and there's going to be wind and all of those things that we are automatically going to lose this game. I'm not going that far. The Rams have played well in cold games. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I think, as we talked about earlier, the weather is going to be an equalizer in this game. I do think that like the Rams are here on a roster standpoint and coaching, and the Bears are like here. And with the weather, they're a little bit more even because it's going to be cold, it's going to be windy, but I don't think enough people are talking about. I know the Bears are used to it. They've played in it. They practice in it. But they still have to play in the same weather that we do. They're still going to have to make tackles against a guy like Puka Nacua when it is bone-chilling cold. And nobody wants to be able to go out and do that. I think it's going to make it definitely an equalizer in this game. I think wind is going to play an important part for field goals and the decisions for going for field goals, as well as some deeper throws down the field. But that's going to go both ways. And yeah, the Bears are a little bit more accustomed to it, but they're not immune to it. And that's kind of where I stand with this. I definitely do think that's going to make it more even. I do predict a closer score with it being in Soldier Field than if it was at SoFi. But do I think that the Rams are just inherently going to lose this because of the cold weather? I really don't.
And all great points. And I'm actually, something that I feel like is not getting talked about enough is how are both the Rams and the Bears training staff going to condition their team? Yeah. What's the sideline conditions going to be like? Are there hand warmers there? Do they got the heated benches, right? Are they getting the coats on like when you're standing there on the sideline? Because when you think of it, if you have, like, say your offense is on the field, right, and you dominate the time of possession, I think that's how the cold actually impacts the game the most. That if you're hogging the ball and you're keeping the other team on the sideline, not running around, they just have to be like, oh man, it's cold, man. I just got to keep this jacket on. That, I think, is actually a huge advantage in this game, is if your offense can stay on the field. Just because keeping the opposing team's offense cold, keeping them, from, getting in a rhythm or anything like that. I think that's how the cold really impacts this game, whether that's for the Rams or the Bears, personally.
That's a really good point that you bring up. Like that coupled with this comment here, like it's who wants it more in this kind of weather, especially on the defensive side. Like, are you really going to go out there when you're all beat up late in the season, when it's cold and try to tackle a guy running full speed. It really does come down to who wants it more and who's able to adapt and adjust enough in this. I'd be curious if Stafford has played in more colder weather games than Caleb Williams. I'm not sure on that, but just over the entire experience and all of that, I'm just curious.
He probably had, just because he's been alive and playing football a lot longer than Caleb.
That's what I'm wondering. But it's like Caleb's played in Chicago for a while, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting conversation. It is who wants it more. You brought up a good point about staying in rhythm, staying warm. It is easy just to get stiff and just try to stay warm from like a human side of things, but like staying warm in the game and staying in rhythm is a big thing. Again, I think that wind is going to be huge for sure in this game. Just again, for field goals and the Rams, Harrison Mevis has still only missed one kick since coming with the Rams, but it's a whole different thing in Chicago. And Cairo Santos has been a very good kicker for them, even with those elements. And so it's definitely going to affect things there. It's definitely going to affect things on deeper passing. But again, it's like, am I really not trusting Matthew Stafford, who's been in the league for 17 years, who played in Detroit in cold weather? And like, I don't know if I can fully get behind that in this game. But again, I really do think it does make this thing more even than it would be. It's just, I don't think the Rams are going to completely crumble like the Dolphins do. So I don't know.
Yeah, no. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out here. I still think that even though it's a cold game, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit more in our over Rams actions and also our what's more likely, but I'm predicting this to be a high scoring game. I think that both these offenses will find a way to, maybe they just say on the sideline, like, best way to fight the cold is score a lot of points, right? Like make it a track meet. And both these defenses have been giving up, some pretty big plays. So that's kind of a recipe for a high-scoring game here in the divisional round. But are you kind of getting that vibe that's going to be, more on the let's score lots of points kind of vibe?
I'm actually on the different side of things. Okay. I'm thinking it's going to be a lower-scoring game, to be honest with you. I know I talked about like weather and how much that affects and all of that. I do think it's actually going to bring down the production a little bit of these offenses. And I'll also recognize the Bears are good at getting turnovers too. So maybe the Rams are moving it well, but the Bears get some turnovers and that makes it lower scoring. I'm honestly thinking a little bit more along the lines of like a 20-17 game, something lower like that. And both these offenses are prolific. They are some of the best offenses in the NFL. But I just have a weird gut feeling about this one. And it's going to be interesting to see the way it plays out. But for these offenses to put up fireworks despite the weather wouldn't surprise me in the least bit, because you got Ben Johnson, you got Sean McVay, and you got great playmakers out there. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I'm honestly kind of thinking a little bit lower scoring.
Okay, interesting. So either you're going to be right or I'm going to be right, and that's okay either way. Yeah, that's the way we'll just put it out. I also do want to comment here. I see we do have some Bears fans in the chat. Thanks for tuning on in, guys. We really do appreciate your opinion and perspective. Especially we are a show that enjoys hearing people that with opinions that aren't like our own, right? And we believe in nuance. Right? Yeah,
diversify the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say something I've found funny. I was listening to a Bears like local radio show to Chicago, and you know how the Bears, they're thinking about building like a new stadium and things like that, right? And I guess in like Bears fan world, there's this like, do we want a dome? It'll be nice sitting and outside the cold. Or do we want an outdoor stadium to like we don't want to give up that home field advantage? And this radio show was being like, you know what? If the Bears win this game, I want an outdoor stadium. If the Bears lose this game, I want to watch Bears football the rest of my life in a nice indoor stadium with a roof. So I guess that's maybe something that's, in the Bears fandom that's kind of going on this game that I found kind of comical.
That is funny. Like speaking on that weather point here, from our Bears fan, I've seen a lot of people saying this. Since Stafford wasn't winning those cold weather games back in the day, he's a Cali boy now. Same with Adams. This weather will impact the game. Pope put the call in. I see a lot of people talking about the Pope. That's funny to me. But I think you said it right in the comment of where I don't know if I fully get behind the Stafford playing bad in cold weather. He said Stafford wasn't winning in those cold games back in the day. I think you truly have to look at the conversation and look at the supporting cast around Matthew Stafford. Nobody was winning games on that Lions team. And
Nope.
a lot of those cold weather games came when he was in Detroit and he was trying to do everything he could, but there wasn't a great supporting cast around him. There wasn't great coaching. I shouldn't have to tell you this. You're a Bears fan, you know where the Lions were back in those days. So that's just kind of where I get confused in this conversation of all of it. Since Stafford has been with the Rams, there's only been one snow game he's played in, and that was against the Eagles last year in the playoffs. And he put up over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and almost beat the Eagles, who went on to win the Super Bowl. And other than that, he's only played in one cold weather game that's under 32 degrees in Los Angeles since being with the Rams, and that was against the Jets last year, and he won. So the whole conversation about like it affecting Stafford and all of that, maybe they're more accustomed to the warm weather now, but they're not unfamiliar with what cold weather games are. And I did mention earlier, I still think it's going to equalize things here. It's going to make things closer than they would have been, but I've just seen a lot of Bears fans talking about how it's just going to make us self-destruct in a way, or that Stafford is just terrible in it. It's like you kind of got to look at the situation he was in there. What do you think on that, Payo? Do you agree, or do you kind of push back on that?
No, I agree with that. First of all, I do want to say K2 the G forever, great handle and also great profile pick.
That is cool. Yeah,
that's a cool
I have to
profile
admit.
pick. I'm gonna say I totally see where that's coming from, and like at the end of the day, Stafford is a seasoned veteran quarterback. He's played in the cold a lot before. It's a factor, but it's about how you adapt to that factor. And I have a lot more faith in Stafford adapting to that than say like if the Rams had like a rookie quarterback or something like that. So I'm actually more interested in the Rams playoff football experience than their experience playing in the cold.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you there.
I gotta give Strikers Corner give us another $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Wow, that is so cool. Kai Ram and Coram really have to show up. Both of them played years in college in the snow. I see them catching short passes and lots of runs. Rams win 27-9. Ooh, I'm okay with that.
That's definitely not the direction I'm thinking in terms of score, but I would take it all day. That's an interesting point that he brought up there about the run game here with the Rams. I do think this is one of the biggest things I hope that the Rams do in this game. It's committing to the run, because while I do have confidence in their passing game with Stafford, with the weapons that they have and all of that, why would you throw caution to the wind, quite literally with the wind and it being cold, just where it's a little bit harder on you, if you can run the ball well? And the Bears defense on the year, they just don't like rank incredibly high in any category other than turnovers. They get turnovers better than any other defense, but other than that, you can move the ball on them. They're in the mid to low 20s in most of their rankings. And I mean, I've seen plenty of Bears games this year. They have been pretty porous on defense. I'll just put it that way. So I hope the Rams really commit to the run game with Kyron and Blake Corum. Yeah. I think that would be a great approach here. It's kind of similar to what I said with the Panthers game like last week. If it's working, I don't care if the Rams run it 40 or 45 times. Like, just you can outpossess the ball. You can keep the other team on the sideline, like you talked about earlier, where they're not able to stay warm. And if you can run the ball, demoralize the defense, wear them out, take your shots when they're there, pass the ball when it's the opportunities there. I'm totally done with this being a Kyron and Corum day. And to be honest, it's the safer play, especially in weather. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think establishing the run, that's a good way. And like I mentioned, especially if you can win the time of possession battle, that is using the cold against your opponent in football, right? And so I'd be A-okay if this is a Kyram and Co-Ram heavy game, that let's do it, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Time of possession too. That is interesting with the Bears on offense. They're actually a top 10 time of possession team in the NFL. That actually surprised me for the offense. Like I don't think of the Bears and be like, oh yeah, they just possess the ball at a top 10 rate and keep it away from you. But time of possession is going to be big, especially in the weather this game.
One minor thing that this is a dramatic change in subject here, but I've seen a lot of people calling the Rams a dome team this week. Bears fans being like, "We're dome team, dome team." I don't know why this irks me because the Rams are not a dome team.
Yeah.
They're a canopy team.
There's a difference.
There is it. They play in the elements of Los Angeles, California, with a canopy over their head. Yes, right, Moody. It's an open air stadium. It is not a dome. It's not SoFi is not a dome.
Yeah, there's been times where people in the comments this week where I just want to correct them and be like, actually, it's not in a dome. But I'm like, I see what they're saying. Like, we deal with warmer weather, don't have to deal with elements and all that. But it is open air, so
yeah, we're being literalists here, and again,
yeah.
But Rams are not a dome team; they're a canopy
No.
team. It's different.
To change subjects again, what are your thoughts on the whole matchup between Ben Johnson and Sean McVay, two of like the brightest young minds on the offensive side of the football in the NFL?
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. I cannot believe we live in a day in a world where we have these two phenomenal offensive masterminds where they're going to be playing like not just chess but like 3D chess with like the up and down and stuff.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. It's going to be so phenomenal. I think I honestly think this is going to be one of the greatest games of all time.
Really? Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. Both these coaches know how to do it on the offensive side of the ball, and I think both of them are incredibly good at making adjustments. And both of them are great culture guys. Like, just look at what Ben Johnson has done with the Bears since going there. So while they're not like directly facing each other when it comes to Ben Johnson's on the defense, McVay's on the offense, and they're going against each other in that way, they're obviously on different teams, and I think that's going to be such a fun storyline to be able to watch two of the better young offensive minds in the NFL, and both of them have really good weapons on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah.
When I was previewing this Bears game this week, I was usually when you're playing a team, you're like, okay, like if you can take this guy out and this guy out, you look pretty good on the defensive side of the ball. But I look at the Bears, I'm like, even if you take away Colston Loveland and DJ Moore, they still have Rome Odunze, they still have Luther Burden, they still have Cole Kmet, they still have DeAndre. Like, they are loaded, and they have a coach that knows what they're doing. So that's definitely going to be a fun one for sure.
Striker's Corner being so generous tonight. Thank you so much. And he points out Caleb Williams is as California as it gets. He will struggle. I feel bad for the Bears players being locked in their stadium with these LA Rams. Okay. Well,
I like the optimism.
The generous support, Striker's Corner.
Yeah, Striker, thank you.
Yeah. I see John, one of our resident Bears fans, he's saying Iceman is waiting for y'all in Chicago. You know what? Let's talk about Caleb Williams a bit here because he had an up and down rookie year last year. This year, he and some people credit Ben Johnson, and there's definitely some something to be said about coaching. But I give a lot of credit to Caleb Williams, who is a second-year quarterback who he had a lot of potential, a very high ceiling, and he is living up to that this season, especially late in the games. And like that 4th and 8 throw from last week, that's one of the best throws I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
How do the Rams combat a dynamic, quarterback like that, where from an athletic point of view, he is a generational talent, and I think from a football IQ point of view, he's only growing, and having a coach like Ben Johnson has really helped him in that regard.
Yeah, he's going to be a handful to be able to deal with, and I think some Rams fans look at him as a young quarterback that we can rattle, and I just if you watch Caleb Williams this year, he has really developed and taken strides to be what he was supposed to be. I think a lot of people still are kind of tainted by what he did in his first year. But to your point, Ben Johnson, that was huge getting him over here. I think Caleb Williams needed a hard coach like this to be able to push him, because Caleb Williams has had people tell him his whole life he's going to be great at football. And I think having a coach like this that not only knows the game, but that's able to push him a little bit more than most people would, and also get him to watch film. That's still a crazy storyline there that they wouldn't let him, or they wouldn't have him watch film. He's going to be a problem. And a big thing that I look at is as generic as it sounds, the way he's able to use his legs and extend plays and throw outside of the pocket, but also run. even the Rams defense under Chris Shula that's been at their best has really struggled with containing quarterbacks. And we can be honest with that. And that has been a weakness of them. Sometimes the edges overcommit and break contain. Other times it's like, oh, like we got them contained and a quarterback just runs right up the middle. You saw that with Bryce Young last week when he ran in for a touchdown. So that's what worries me here is Caleb Williams, some of his best success, especially if he's bringing in a comeback bid for the Bears, it's when he's throwing outside the pocket. It's when he's moving. And the Rams really haven't consistently been able to stop that as a defense, as good as they are. And sometimes you can rush so good that you let up a lane for a quarterback to run. And Caleb Williams has not been afraid to do that. And that's what I'm worried about. He's got the arm angles. He's a huge Stafford fan. We've seen that in the past. He raves about Stafford. You see some arm angles that he does. But really, I think the legs, his mobility, the way he's able to move is going to save him from taking a couple sacks and really could hurt the Rams. So that's kind of what I'm worried about here.
Yeah, I echo that, especially if we see Caleb Williams moving to the outside. My heart's going to jump a little bit of like, get him. Right. So the Rams pass rush really needs to live up to their hype this game. And I actually think this might be a game where we see the Rams rush 5 more than 4 off, than we normally do. Just for that reason of, respecting what Caleb Williams can do with his legs, right?
That's a good point. I think the Rams are really going to have to get creative here to be able to contain him, but you also can't just play contain the whole day and just let him sit back there and make the throws and just be making sure he doesn't run. There's going to be a balance here, and this could be one of those games that helps Chris Shula to get that head coaching job where it's like, man, you were able to contain Caleb Williams, really hold his offense in check, because teams do a really good job of that in the first half. It's the second half when that really begins to come alive for the Bears. So Caleb Williams, no doubt, is going to be a problem. A lot of Rams fans know and are familiar with him because they're USC fans and they watched him in college. So that's a fun little wrinkle there and layer to the story. But isn't it crazy how the first time the Rams played Caleb Williams last year, when the Bears won 5 games, they beat the Rams? Like that is something funny where it's like that game feels like a blur, like so long ago.
Really so long ago, but it was just over a year.
Yeah, but Caleb Williams has gotten so much better since then, and he's certainly not a guy to scoff at. And man, those legs are what really scares me as a Rams defense, as good as our pass rush is.
For sure. Do you want to head on over to Over Rams Actions?
I do. Here in Over Rams Action Wednesday, for those who are new to this segment, essentially it mirrors what Richard and Chris Brockman do with their Overreaction Monday podcast. Everything is about the Rams, of course. I'm going to be pitching Payo time, and to you guys in the chat, a potential hot take, and it's your guys' job to say if it's a hot take or if it's fair. And around here, we call hot takes Over Rams Actions, just for a little play on words. So I want to start here. Usually I pitch this to you guys, and you guys react right away. This time, I'm going to give my pitch and my argument and see if it's a hot take argument. So, number one, of course, we're talking about the weather. Everybody's been talking about the weather this week. We talked about it earlier. I truly think weather is going to be an equalizer in this game. I think it's going to make these two teams be a lot more even than they would be if they played at SoFi in a controlled environment. It's going to throw things up for sure. But there's a lot of Bears fans and Rams fans that I've seen that think that this is going to completely hinder the Rams, going to make them self-destruct. They bring up Stafford's 1-9 record in the snow. They bring up his bad records in the cold. I'm saying this Stafford and this cold weather narrative is overblown. And to do this, I actually want to see if I can share my screen here live. I've never done this on StreamYard because I want to bring you guys to this. Actually, I'll just read it out loud here. You guys don't need to see it. This is from the Rams Wire, an article talking about Matthew Stafford and the Rams in cold weather, written by Cameron DeSilva. If you guys want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description. Since Sean McVay was hired in 2017, the Rams have played in 4 cold weather games with the temperature at kickoff 32 degrees or below. They're 2-2 in those games, beating the Broncos in 2018, the Jets last year, and the Bears in 2018, which they lost to, and the Packers in 2022. In that span of those 4 games under 32 degrees, they averaged 15 points per game, with their highest total being 23 points in Denver. The interesting thing here is all 4 of those games were in the regular season, and Stafford was the quarterback for just one of them. And that was last year's win over the Jets in that cold, under 32-degree game.
Right.
All the rest of them, one was played by Jared Goff, one was played by Baker Mayfield, and another was played by Jared Goff. So, in saying all of this, Stafford has played only one game in LA in the weather being below 32 degrees. He's won that game. It was against the Jets, but he won that game on the road. And as for Stafford, this continues on in the article. He spent most of his career in the NFC North with the Lions, of course, playing outdoor games against the Bears and the Packers every year. But still, in those cold games, he's only played 5 of those games where the temperature was below 32 degrees. And that was in Green Bay, Chicago, and Philadelphia. Adding in this one game against the Jets last year, which he won, Stafford has 6 career games in freezing condition. His record is 3-3, but his passing numbers are impressive. He's thrown for 15 touchdown passes and only 3 interceptions with 1,500 yards. And even in a game last year against the Eagles, the Rams obviously played the Eagles in the snow, and they were able to win that game. I say all of that to say this narrative is overblown with the cold weather. It is going to play an impact. It will impact this game. It's going to make it closer than what it would have been indoors, in my opinion. But Stafford has played in one below 32-degree weather game in LA, and he won that game last year. Other than that, the Rams are 2-2 overall under Sean McVay, and Stafford has played well even in the games he's lost. I think people look too much at the fact that he had a bad record, 1-9 in the snow when he was with Detroit, but those circumstances are completely different. That was a different team. The elements are different. So that was a mouthful. I truly think that this narrative is a little bit overblown. I don't think he can make the Rams self-destruct.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's an over-Rams action at all. Again, great article by Cameron DeSilva of the Rams Wire. Yeah, like I think I'm not like I like Blake. I appreciate this comment here is whether we'll not neglect generational talent like Stafford. I think at the end of the day, these are 2 really high quality football teams that are going to be playing in really low, cold temperatures. Mm-hmm. And, part of football is adapting and adjusting, right? And the cold, the fact that it's a night game, that's going to be part of what they have to do to adjust to it, right? And so it's up to the players, it's up to the coaches, up to the training staff, and, we'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah. I just think it's I don't know. I really don't want Bears fans to think that I'm just completely downplaying their advantage with the weather, because it is an advantage. I understand the Bears are familiar with this. It's just like, will it really make the Rams win or lose this game? Maybe, because maybe it'll make the game closer. But I think people are getting on Stafford too much and saying he just can't play in cold weather, or he's not going to be able to adjust, or this Rams team is so warm weather that their skin is thin and they can't handle the cold. It's like, what about the game against the Jets last year? What about in the Eagles game when the Rams still, like, Stafford had over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. He played really well. So I don't know. It's going to play a factor. I just don't think people are understanding. Like, I don't know if it's going to play as big of a factor as people are saying. That's all I'm going to say here. So that will be the longest over Rams action here. I don't have any other articles attached to this next one. Getting down back to basics here. For number 2, Colston Loveland has been an incredible tight end for the Bears. Really come on, is already putting himself in the top tight end conversations already. And he has just looked phenomenal with the Chicago Bears. Leading receiver, we all know that. I'm saying Colston Loveland will have more receiving yards than the entire Rams tight end room on Sunday.
Ooh. I'm sighing because it's similar to one of my what's more likely. I don't think that's an over Rams action. I think that because in terms of like what the Rams tight ends do, they're like, especially Parkinson lately in the red zone's been a threat. They've been chain movers. They haven't necessarily had these big, massive chunk plays. Loveland has those plays, right?
Yeah.
So and just because of Loveland's role in the Bears offense compared to what the Rams tight ends do, where it is more of a tight end room by committee, I don't think this is an over Rams action here.
Yeah, I don't. And I don't really think it's a slight to the Rams tight end room.
No.
As much as they've used 13 personnel, Loveland is just phenomenal. Like he's
Yeah.
almost like a receiver there. And Caleb Williams relies on him a lot. So for this to happen, I really don't think it's an over Rams action to be able to say this. And there's legitimately just seeing so many Bears games this year. There's just drives where I look over. It's like, oh, there's Loveland. Oh, there's Loveland. Oh, Loveland for another 20 yards, 30 yards. There are drives when he just completely takes over and dominates. And Loveland is just a different kind of breed. Like this is kind of what we hope Ferguson is able to turn into eventually. Yeah. We've seen flashes of that, but I don't think it's an over Rams action. That connection with Caleb Williams, how good he's been in his rookie year. As much as the Rams use 13 personnel, I still say he's getting more yards than the Rams' entire tight end room. So, number 3, this we're talking about weather again here. I didn't think we would talk about it, but we're framing it in a different way. The Rams pass rush, we hope to be able to deliver big in the playoffs, just like they did last year, and they got some good pressure last week. The temperature, though, as far as a low in the temperature, could get pretty low. I'm saying the Rams will have more sacks than the lowest temperature reached on Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
I guess we'd have to talk about Fahrenheit here for you. I'm talking in Fahrenheit.
So you're saying 7 degrees?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm channeling. Okay, American. I can talk American. 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
I've seen some people say that this game could get as cold as like 2 degrees and 3 degrees. So it kind of is fluctuating, but anywhere in that neighborhood.
You know what? I am gonna say that is not an over Rams action. I think that, but Caleb Williams getting sacked, it's different because there's sometimes that because of his style of play, it actually is smart for him to take the sack, right?
Yeah.
Just being, a more mobile quarterback. So I am going to say the Rams will have more sacks than the lowest temperature reached in Sunday Night Football.
Okay. I'm actually with Ducendo here. He says over Rams action.
Okay.
I think we don't have a solid number on what the temperature is going to be, but even if the degrees are like 5 or 6 degrees or even 4 degrees, I don't think this Rams pass rush is going to get a ton of sacks this game because Caleb Williams is the quarterback. He is just like a magician in making people miss and scrambling and being able to find those lanes. And as I talked about earlier, the Rams defense, even at their best, has not been great at containing mobile quarterbacks. So I'm saying it's an over Rams action. I'm with Descendo here. And Muad'Dib says, isn't it -8? Feels like, or temp. So for this, I'm saying just the temperature overall. So the Rams would have to get more sacks than the lowest temperature reached. Chef Joe Back says, fair take. The Rams sacks are coming, right? We're hoping so. I'm not feeling it this game. I just think the quarterback we're playing, I don't know if we'll get a ton of sacks. I'd love to be wrong and love for Caleb Williams just to hold on to the ball and all that. I don't know if I'm feeling a big sack game this week, but it is worth mentioning that their starting left tackle for the Bears is going to miss this game. So Jared Verse has an opportunity to do something. I just think, man, Caleb Williams is just good at extending plays. So last one here, got no Rams action. Bears left tackles out. So that's what I just talked about. So we got some differing opinions here. I don't think that this is going to happen, but I'd love to be wrong.
We'll see.
Number 4 here. We have talked about, and I made an entire video talking about the 2 different identities of the Rams and the Bears team. The Bears start cold, they come back and they win games. The Rams start hot and they either let a team come back and win, or they let a team come back and it's a close call like last week, like Philadelphia, like Seattle. We have seen these problems kind of be on each team's identity this year. They haven't been able to show that they can clean it up. I'm saying the Bears are the perfect opponent for the Rams to never let anyone back in a game for the rest of the postseason.
I gotta think about this. This is a toughie. The Bears are the perfect opponent for the Rams to never let anyone back in games for the rest of the year. That's not an over Rams action. No, that's not. And I actually think these teams match up well for a lot of different reasons. And I think that it's so interesting that the Rams and Bears didn't play each other this year in the season at all. And because when the Rams played the Panthers last week, there was that narrative, right? Like the revenge narrative, that kind of thing. The Rams and Bears don't have that this season, but they're two really good teams. And yeah, I totally think this is a fair take. Yeah.
I'm with you there. I think this is a fair take. I don't want to discredit anything the Bears have done in coming back this year. It's been incredible. The fact they've done it 7 different times is just mind-boggling to me, especially seeing a lot of those games. You think they're out of it and they're not. I think McVay all week, especially in a game like this, especially in a team that's known for coming back, and for a team that did this against Sean McVay's best friend and Matt LaFleur, and that whole thing, they've got to be harping on this. Like, I'd be surprised if this is the week that they just they've got to be mentioning this all week of don't let this team stick in it, and that's got to be the mentality. I'm sure Stafford is preaching it, and they're obviously gonna have to prove it and show it. But this is one of those games where it's like, I think the Rams can prove they can put a team away again. It's been a while since we've done that. Just put them away. It doesn't have to be a blowout, but if you have a lead by 7-10 points, just don't give it back. Just keep the lead, and you're gonna have to do that.
2-score lead going, with 10 minutes to go in the game. That is not safe against this Bears team. Right.
Not safe at all. Not even close to safe. Mudeeb says not no Rams action. Yupper, and then Sheriff Jovac says perfect take. Chicago just won their Super Bowl. Rams will be fine. It's going to be tough, but I think we're going to be able to preach not to let our foot off the gas pedal. Otherwise, again, we're going to learn the hard way, and we're going to have to live with it all off season, I think. So that is number 4, and my 5th and final one you would think has to do with the Bears, but in reality, it actually has to do with the team we beat last week in the Panthers. I was thinking about it. Do you know last year when we lost to the Eagles in that divisional round game, very tight game, and we just barely couldn't do enough there? The whole conversation all off season amongst NFL pundits and the talking heads and all of that was, the Rams were the team that gave the Eagles the best shot in the playoffs last year because the Eagles just blew out everybody else after the Rams. I think that the Panthers will be this year's Rams in the offseason. In terms of that is what people are going to be talking about. If the Rams go on to win the Super Bowl, people are going to be like, this Panthers team, don't overlook this Panthers team. They almost beat the Rams at home, and they were just a few plays away from sending them home. After that, the Rams ended up going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's an over Rams action. Just for this reason, the NFC South is in such flux right now. The Panthers had a really good year, but they have to build upon it, right? Yeah. And I don't think they're quite at the same place that the Rams were at last year.
What about the narrative? Because I just think the Panthers are going to be talked about more in the offseason, just based on if the Rams can go on and win the Super Bowl. The fact that they almost knocked us out, I think that gets them in the conversation, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and you never know, right? You never know, but they still, I still say they need a really good draft this year to make that next level. So we'll see.
I agree. Juno Trooper says yes, the Panthers think they're as good as us, almost. So it was a close call there. I'm just glad our season is still alive. And speaking of season still alive, we got a Bears fan in here saying good luck with that. The Bears scored 25 points in the 4th quarter. We are very much aware of that as Rams fans. With our team identity, if we leave you hanging in the 4th quarter, I mean, I'm going to be sweating. So hopefully we're able to be a team that's actually able to keep the Bears in check and not let them come back, because they've done it multiple times. And I don't want to be one of those people that is a victim of the Bears comeback. But that will do it for the Over Rams action segment of this show. Now I'm going to pass it over to my friend Payo time. He's going to do what's more likely, but it's just the Rams.
Oh, thank you very much. And everyone hanging out with us, thank you so much. We got 70 people watching between our 2 channels. That's like the most ever on our First Down Rams live show.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Feel free to like and subscribe to both our channels. So we're going to play a game of what's more likely, but it's just the Rams. And in this game, I give 2 scenarios that are about the Rams and this upcoming game for the most part. And you in the chat and also Rams House here will decide which of those 2 scenarios are more likely. And if you say, both, or neither, we're going to say pick a lane, right?
Yeah. Be decisive.
Yeah, pick a side, right? So anyway, I think some of these are kind of fun here. Okay, kind of fun. Okay, I'm going to see if I can make you think. And my goal when making these are to make you go, huh? Right? Like, not just an immediate thing here. So, okay. So what's more likely, but it's just the Rams. Here we go. The NFL record for combined points is 96 points. Sorry, in a playoff game is 96 points by the Packers and Cardinals from 2009. What's more likely? The Rams and Bears break this record, or a Bears fan runs on the field?
What? That's so random. I'm going to say the Bears fan runs on the field because I don't think that it's going to break the record this game. It just doesn't have that feel to it to me. Weather, but also just playoff football. I don't know if we see that many points, but I guess if it were to happen, it would be with two of the best coaches in the NFL when it comes to offensive mind and culture builders. So I can see where you're going with this, but I'm going to go to the second option just because I personally think it's going to be a little bit low scoring of a battle between these two teams.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Pick a lane, Muad'Dib. Pick a lane.
How many times do we have to say this, Muad'Dib?
Strikers saying fans on the field. Okay, everyone's saying Bears fan on the field. Okay, well, we'll see that. And yeah. Oh, so the Rams Chiefs, that was a regular season game. 96 is the record for playoff game. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh, look, a kind comment here by Fifth River Rat. That's really cool, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
That's really cool. Also, I forgot to mention from last week, our What's More Likely segment. Sorry, pause this game. I have more for you. I just have to, toot the Troy Reader horn here a little bit. I get last week on What's More Likely, I said, what's more likely, Troy Reader does something of celebration versus the Panthers, or we see a Rams fake punt? We saw Troy Reader recover a fumble off a muff punt. So that was clearly what was more likely.
That we may not have won that game if Troy Reader didn't do that. Like, no, you never know.
Yeah,
I actually don't think we were at points that drive, but still. I during that moment when Troy Reader got the fumble, I got up off my couch. I was like, Troy Reader, and I was celebrating. And then my dad was just like, "That's the most excited I've seen you get for Troy Reader." I was like, "Oh, sorry, it's like an inside joke."
It's probably the greatest play of Troy Reader's career, really.
Honestly, sign off on it now before you get Super Bowl MVP, of course.
Right. Troy Reader for president. Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Fuller left the office, so Troy Reader's ready to step in.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Okay. A lot of people. Okay. I didn't specifically say a shirtless Bears fan runs on the. Hank is just taking this. Like, the chat is turning this into something else.
Yeah. Honestly, I can picture that in my head. A Bears fan just being shirtless. But either way, I think that's more likely.
Okay. Let me get back to this game here. Okay. What's more likely? But it's just the Rams. Okay. What's more likely? Kenota Mumfield has over 30 receiving yards this game, or Cam Curl recovers a fumble. Note that Kenota Mumfield had exactly one catch for 11 yards in the game versus the Panthers.
That's a really good one, actually, because the Rams do a good job of involving Konate. I feel like this will be more of a Puka Devontae game and a run game. So I'm going to go Cam Curl recovers a fumble. It's been a while since we've seen a Nate Landman punch out. Maybe we see it this week. Cam Curl is always on the spot. I'm going to go Cam Curl. That's a good one, though.
Okay, fair enough. A lot of people still. Okay, I did not mention a streaking Bears fan.
Where is this going?
That just takes it to a whole new level.
Seriously.
John is saying neither. We always say pick a lane. Mumfield will see more touches. Curl recovery, the 30 yards by Bradley. Okay, so
we got some mixed results.
Yeah, mixed results here. Some people are leaning Curl here. Okay, all right.
I just want to bring up this comment here real quick before you move on. From John says, "Were you guys fans of the Rams when they were in St. Louis?" We both were. Yes. It may not look like it with all the blue and yellow. Not a lot of the St. Louis, but you got the Falk jersey back there.
Yeah, I got the Falk jersey here. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I'm a Rams fan is because I was born in St. Louis, and so I followed them since then. I didn't abandon the team when they moved, like a lot of other people. And Payo, you as well. You've stuck with the team even in those ugly Jeff Fisher, Scott Linehan era Rams. Like,
I really should have a shirt that says "I survived the Rams 2009 season."
You should, or just a shirt that just says 7 and 9.
Yeah,
Jeff Fisher classic.
Oh man,
but yeah, we've been fans since St. Louis.
Yes, but thanks for the question.
Yeah, good question.
Okay, next one here. Okay. Oh wait, I'm gonna save that one for last. Okay, sorry.
I like it.
Okay, that's my tease. I have to mentally prepare to say that one. Okay, what's more likely? The Rams hold Colston Loveland for under 100 yards receiving, or Davis Allen, the Rams tight end, catches a touchdown pass.
I say Davis Allen catches a touchdown pass. I think Loveland is that good. I think he's not just used like a traditional tight end, but I just do think that connection between him and Caleb is good. Rams aren't the best at stopping tight ends. And Davis Allen, the general, he's due for a touchdown. So I'm going with Davis Allen.
Okay, that's cool. Hey Blue Lock, good to see you. Yeah, we got lots of Bears fans coming in here. Sup Windy City Investor Pod. That's a hilarious name for a podcast.
Yeah, I like
great. It. Lots of people saying Al. Lots of people are agreeing with you here. All right, that's cool.
13 personnel.
Okay, and then Windy City Investor Podcast is saying Loveland putting up 150 on the Rams. Okay, I could see it, to be honest.
I was gonna say it sounds crazy, but honestly, I could see it happening. Loveland's just a beast.
Especially with Kelly Weatherspoon out, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I think we're going to see a lot of Quentin Lake on Colston Loveland, and that'll be fun because I think Curl is going to probably get most of Komet. Quentin Lake at full strength, I think that would be a really good matchup. I think we saw a little bit of the rust being shaken off of Lake. He had a good pass breakup on 4th down early on, but a couple of plays where you're like, oh, we don't normally see Lake struggle in coverage like this. So second week back, Lake versus Loveland, that's going to be a fun one.
That's what I'm saying. Rams got to hog the ball, keep Loveland and Caleb Williams on the sideline, with the hand warmers.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. What's more likely? Okay. Sorry, this is who are we more likely to be talking about after this game? Linebacker Omar Spates or punter Ethan Evans for the Rams?
This one does make me think.
That was the goal.
Yeah, you did your job there. Mission accomplished. Because I do think this is going to be a lower scoring game. I said it earlier, like somewhere around 20-17. I just have that weird feeling it's going to be lower scoring. So Ethan Evans could be big if he pins the Bears down inside and sets up a long drive in some way. We haven't really seen a big Spates game this year. Like, he's had some moments. It's been more on Nate Landman. I don't know. That's a good one. I'm just going to go with Omar Spates, the optimistic. Hopefully he makes some good run stuffs, makes some plays. He had a strip sack on Jalen Hurts last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is a game where we talk about Omar Spates having a big game in the cold. Maybe he wakes up in the cold. I don't know. I'm going to go with Omar, though.
Rams Mob agrees with you. Spates legacy game here. Okay.
Let's go, Rams Mob.
That's cool. All right. My final. Oh, okay. Gotta keep a straight face here. Okay. I'm professional. I am a professional Rams content creator here. Okay.
You got it.
What's more likely? Sean McVay gives Ben Johnson a bro hug, which, if you don't know, it's the chest bump, that double tap on the back sort of thing, right? What's more likely? Sean McVay gives Ben Johnson a bro hug after the game, or Kyron Williams is the first person that appears in the LA Rams social media team post video after the game to the fans. You know that video they do when they're walk off the field?
Yeah.
They're like, "Whose house, baby? Rams."
Yeah. We'll be in Seattle next week. Can't wait to see you there. Rams house.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Kyron Williams. I'm actually very confident in this one. It's a combination of Ben Johnson being such a competitor that if he loses the game, I think it's going to be hard for him to give Sean McVay a bro hug, as you call it. I think he'll just shake hands and get out of there. Not in Green Bay fashion, for those who understand that whole joke, but it'll be more of that kind of handshake. Kyren Williams is such an exuberant personality for the Rams, and they feature him a lot. So I'm going to go Kyren Williams.
Okay, I can see it. I love this here bro hug because of LaFleur last week. Sheriff Joe of Rams Showcase saying bro hug with a whisper. Never do that mess. Or never do that mess again to my boy.
So I look like I'm the minority here.
Picking a lot of people are saying the bro hug.
Yeah. Okay. What do you say?
I'll be honest. I think that Ben Johnson, I don't know if he's a bro hug guy. Like he maybe just isn't that kind of guy. So I'm going to say Kyren Williams in the social media post, but I pick a lane, but there is a chance both happen.
Just see his comment. Mitch Trubisky torched us? ? I don't think he quite torched us in that 2018 game. It was more of the Bears defense. Like we put up 6 points on Sunday Night Football against the Bears. That was a ugly game there. But Trubisky, throwback name there for sure.
Well, and for all the Bears fans out there that love bringing up history, do you guys remember Van Jefferson and like the Rams' first game with Matthew Stafford as their quarterback? Because I do.
That was pretty awesome.
That was the start of some of the best years of being a Rams fan ever.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a throwback. The first touchdown as a Ram for Matthew Stafford was also Justin Fields' first touchdown as a Bear. And now look where we're at now. Like Caleb Williams with the Bears. Oh, man, this game's going to be fun. Do you have a score prediction for this one?
I think it's going to be a big one. I am confident that this game is going to go. It might go into double overtime. It might.
Jeez.
So have your defibrillators ready.
Oh man!
But I'm gonna be bold. 45-41 Rams.
In the cold, I would love that. Honestly, that would be
this is gonna be a classic, one of the greatest games ever.
I'm down for that. Where do I sign up for a game like that? My score prediction is so much more boring. My prediction is way more boring. I'm saying 2017 Rams. Of course, I have confidence in the Rams here to be able to overcome it. I think weather plays into this, but I also think both teams are going to commit to the run game as much as they can.
But I think the way that both these defenses are doing that's in play, like that low of a score?
I think it's in play because I think both teams are going to have longer possessions. Okay. I don't think it's going to be like explosive plays downfield. It's going to be harder to throw. Elements are going to play into it. I really do think, I mean, I talked about it earlier, the Bears are a top 10 team in time of possession. And I think both teams are going to emphasize running the ball and out-possessing, like you said, getting the other team on the sideline to not stay fresh and warm. So I'm going 2017. I don't know why. I understand both offenses are great. I'm going 2017, though.
Okay, fair enough. And I if you're watching, feel free to put your score prediction in the chat. I see we have some Rams and Bears fans, putting in their predictions.
Oh, no. Please don't.
No, that'd be dangerous.
I see what he's doing there. Wow, 42-20. We got 34-30 Bears. Okay. 31-24 Rams. We got a lot of close scores, though. Scores.
I can see it. Yeah. The point is we're all gonna have heart attacks on Sunday night.
We should already know that by now, though. Like, this is Bears and Rams football. It's playoffs. Right? Like, we gotta have a prayer circle before the game. Like, please help us to stay alive in this game, not for our hearts to sink in the middle of the game. But Sheriff Dovak says, I think Rams are going to pick on the secondary off play action early. I think we run play action early because everyone thinks both will try to establish the run. I could see that. And McVay does like to do that, like outsmart the opponent of like, oh, you think I'm doing this or we're doing this well? We're going to go and counter this way. And Bears do that well too. So I could see that, honestly, early on. Secondary can be picked on. I think more so like this Bears front seven and pass rush isn't all that strong. And Stafford will have time when he drops back to pass. It's just, okay, how severe are these wind gusts that we're talking about? Like, are they going to be bad enough to really throw off the accuracy enough on the football? Because Stafford is still dealing with a finger injury from last week. But like, how impactful is that? But that feels very real of what McVay would do, going to the play action when everybody thinks you're going to try to establish the run.
Yeah, I see it. I see this comment here from one of our Bears fans watching, saying, "I've had nearly 40 heart attacks this year." I don't
Seriously.
know if I should tune in before the fourth quarter.
Yeah, honestly, for Bears fans, the fourth quarter, you'd honestly be good to start at the fourth quarter. Be like, okay, we're starting a game now. We're down. We're gonna come back and win this. It's just been crazy, man. The Bears have been a fun team to watch for sure.
Yeah. I saw this question here from Paul, and I want to bring it up here, saying, "How many Rams remain from our last Super Bowl team?" Just wondering who's experienced here. Do you know off the top of your head? I don't.
I know Matthew Stafford, Rob Havenstein, Coleman Shelton.
Okay.
Technically, like he was on the Super Bowl team. He had
Right.
left and came back. Coleman Shelton versus a former team, the Bears. So that's three of them.
Yeah.
AJ Jackson was on the Super Bowl team. He just wasn't starting yet. Darius Williams was on the Super Bowl team. He left and came back. Tutu was, yep. Let me think. Quentin Lake wasn't yet.
Lyric Jackson, but he wasn't starting.
Yeah, he wasn't started yet. Sheriff Joe Bag says only 8, I think. We got to find the last ones. Those are all the ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
Was Nick Hampton?
I don't think Nick Hampton was.
No.
I think that's all of them. Oh, yeah. Rams mob, Troy Reader, of course.
How did we miss Troy Reader?
We also missed Stafford and Higbee. We just completely overpassed. Like, we missed the obvious ones. Stafford and Higbee.
Right.
Yeah, Shelton D. Will.
Troy
Reader. Yeah, I think that's all of them.
Yeah.
I went past Stafford and Higbee because I thought those were like layups, trying to get the hard ones, and then I forgot. I was like, who are we missing now? Of course, Stafford and Higbee. That's
right.
Obvious.
All right, that's fair enough. So again, you have a balance of playoff Super Bowl experience, and then, but like, is there a Rams starter right now that didn't at least play in a playoff game last year? I don't think so.
Be like rookies. Like, I mean, Josiah Stewart gets sprinkled in there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Ferguson gets used. So yeah, like the rookies.
Did Warren McClendon play in a playoff game last year?
No. There's Nate Landman, obviously he's a new addition. He didn't play he was on the Falcons, so he didn't play. Secondary, Forbes technically hasn't because he didn't start in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So technically he's one of them.
Oh yeah.
Toby Durant has played, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know that this Rams team is battle tested, and I see this comment here. Can we talk about Josiah Stewart and Muhabib? I actually had Josiah Stewart. I had a what's more likely in mind for him, but for some reason I deleted it. But we absolutely can talk about Josiah Stewart. He has had a phenomenal rookie year for being a late round draft pick, and I actually think he's at a point now where he's an important piece in this Rams defense as a rotational pass rusher. Yeah. What do you think?
No, yeah, he's been an underrated addition for the Rams here, and we obviously remember he had that strip sack against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago. But yeah, he's just been a really good addition for this Rams team. I really like the way that they're able to use him in rotation. He actually gets rotated in a lot more in the back half of this year, which helps Byron Young and Jared Verse stay fresh. I really like the way he plays the run, plays the pass. They can use him in the cheetah package with the 3 edge rushers if they want to. So he's definitely one of those guys that's like, he may not get a lot of credit, but glad Muad'Dib brought him up because he's actually been a really good pickup for this Rams team. And really, like, his snaps have only been increasing. They've been using him more, and I really do like that pickup. I think what he does best right now is definitely defending the run, but he's also shown his flashes against the pass too, and has gotten some sacks there. And I think he's lived up to what we could expect coming into the year here, just given the way they used him. Wait, I'm trying to click on Sheriff Joe Bag's comment here. He says, what's more likely, Stewart will be awesome or Stewart will be dope? Honestly, that's a tough one. I'd say Stewart will be dope. Let's see. Stewart and Johnson as backup pass rusher duo is playing well. Last 2 games, they've been the guys on drive 2. They have been, and it's not just like they're thrown out there, they're getting snaps. Like they're actually getting good use, and they're actually impacting the pocket. It's really cool to see a guy like Deshaun Johnson, who was the Mr. Irrelevant pick for the Rams, still be on this Rams team and carve out a role. And so, yeah, big fan of these guys. I think you're muted, Payo.
Oh, am I back? Testing?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, weird. Okay, sorry. John's asking a question here. What is the biggest matchup that will determine the outcome of the game? Ooh.
That's a really good one.
I have who I would say.
Go ahead.
Nate Landman and Omar Spates versus Caleb Williams.
Oh, really? Why that?
I just specifically think that it's going to be up to the Rams linebackers because sometimes they're going to have to go in coverage, right? Like there's going to be times where like Omar Spates is going to be on Colston Loveland, right? And when, Caleb Williams is extending the play, things like that, like if one of them are coming, as the extra, pass rusher or something, I think that that specific matchup will determine the outcome of this game.
Yeah. I think I'm going to pick a matchup on offense and defense, if that's okay here, just for how things impact. I talked about Caleb Williams and his scrambling ability, and I said earlier in the week on my preview, I don't think the Rams pass rush as much is going to be on them about getting sacks as it'll be about containing Caleb and making sure he doesn't break outside the pocket, make one of those incredible throws like he did last week against the Packers, like he's done all year long, but also scrambling for those first downs. The Rams could be getting themselves in these 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9 scenarios on defense, and Caleb can run, get the first down, and that just kills us. And we haven't been consistent enough in stopping that. So I would say containing. So the matchups of Byron Young and Jared Verse on the 2 tackles, more so for containing, keeping him in the pocket and that pass rush integrity. That's a huge matchup for me. And then for me on the offensive side of the football, I'm going to go to the Rams running backs versus this Bears defense because Sheriff Joe Bags talked about how they're going to lean into play action more and kind of trick them that way. I think / hope that the Rams lean into their run game and possess the ball and wear them out because the Bears haven't been great against the run. So running backs versus Bears defense, and then the tackles of the Bears against the Rams edge rushers are the 2 biggest matchups for me.
Yeah, no, that's good takes. Good takes. We got Carl here is saying, looking forward to a great game. Have a great night, y'all. Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, thank you, Carl.
Wendy R. Carney saying quarterback spy contained. Yep, that's what we're nervous about.
Yeah.
Versus their backup left tackle. Definitely that's something to and even John is saying here, Bears O-line versus Rams D-line. Yep.
That's a big key here. But it's crazy. Like, I don't think enough people talk about what the Bears did in the offseason. We talked about their wide receivers, about their weapons, their Caleb Williams taking the growth, and Ben Johnson. All of that gets talked about with the Bears offense, but I don't think enough people talk about how much they invested in this offensive line. Like, they truly have been one of the worst offensive lines in the last even decade, you could say. Yeah. But this offseason, they brought in our guy Jonah Jackson. They brought in Joe Tooney. They brought in Drew Dahlman. That's 3 new pieces on the offensive line. And then they already had Darnell Wright, a first-round pick. Like, their offensive line, they've really built up. And I don't think they'd have this much success had they not done that. So it's going to be huge. This Rams pass rush and defensive line, can we get a good push on this offensive line that they've invested into? While they do have a backup left tackle starting, still overall as a whole, that group looks really good.
Totally. And we get a question here asking, how does the Rams defense do against quarterbacks that scramble or can move? And I'm going to say they do well, except for every now and then a big play, just they get burnt. They get burnt by the big play. And that's when it can be really frustrating as a Rams fan. And when I'm hosting a watch party, my chat with all the angry Rams fans goes off of like, what is this? Is unacceptable, right? And it's just like the reality of it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's not like we're consistently bad of every play a quarterback can just get outside the pocket and scramble. Like, the Rams defense has gotten better at containing, but they haven't gotten as good as we need them to be, I would think, especially against guys like Caleb. And Yeah, there's even times when it feels like a quarterback is kind of running around, even staying in the pocket, then gets outside. It's hard as a cornerback to cover for 7 or 8 seconds long, just for any cornerback against these athletes. But
Yeah.
sometimes, I don't know what you think, Payo, but sometimes it feels like our cornerbacks or safeties think the play is done, like we have the sack, and then the quarterbacks keep scrambling, and then there's a guy even more open. So it's definitely a weakness for sure. And Caleb is, man, he's great outside the pocket. So
yeah. Well, Ram says this has been a lot of fun, and thank you everyone for all the great conversation and comments and questions and things like that. Ram says, do you got any content coming out over the next couple days?
Yeah, I will be clipping out the Over Rams action segment for those who didn't catch it live. So that will be dropping here soon. I'm still trying to do about a video a day in the month of January. So whatever we talk about, it's going to be a lot of Bears talk to end this week. Keys to the game. I may even actually bring my dad on Friday to be able to preview this game with him being a Bears fan, me being a Rams fan.
That'd be fun.
So watch out for that. And we will be doing the post-game live, hopefully after a victory on Sunday night, to talk about this Rams game, no matter what the result is. So that's what you got coming out here for me. What about you?
Nice. Yeah, I'll clip out a couple things from this video or this live stream. And then, of course, I'll be doing my before and after reaction videos, which, people seem to like them. So that's what they. And then I'll be live for the Rams versus Bears watch party. Cannot wait. It's going to be great. And I'll probably have a couple videos coming up between now and then anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you guys. Seriously, this is the best night in First Down Rams history, in our short history here. The amount of people that tuned in, that interacted, engaged, whether you're a Bears fan or Rams fan, you guys made this night amazing. And so I appreciate you guys. Your interaction makes this show what it is. If this was pre-recorded, it would be a whole lot worse. You guys make this a lot of fun. I appreciate all the time that you guys spent with us tonight. And
absolutely.
And hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys enjoy the week. We'll have more content covering this game. So hopefully time goes a little bit faster for you guys. Hopefully you guys have a great day.